silent no more. I'm done fighting this war. What I feel in weakness is something worth fighting for. Silent no more. I'm unlocking the door. If strength is being honest, then I'm stronger than before.
Welcome back. Tonight we're talking about something that sounds simple, but has the power to completely transform a person's life. Decisions, not motivation, not luck, not wanting or waiting for the perfect opportunity. Because the truth is, many people know exactly what needs to change in their lives. The problem isn't awareness. The problem is commitment. Tonight's guest knows that better than most. After spending years in prison and rebuilding his life from the ground up, Justin Danforth has become known for his direct, no excuses approach to personal growth, accountability, and transformation. Justin, welcome to Silent No More.
Hey,
What's going on, sir?
what's up, man? Thanks for having me.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm real good, man. Like I tell anybody, I'm always good. When you've been through what I've been through, anything outside of that is good.
No, I hear that. That's a good way to be. Positive mindset.
Indeed. So, once again, thanks for having me on the show. This is an incredible opportunity. I hope I can hope. I just really just hope I can provide as much value to your listeners as possible, because I know there's always somebody that just needs to hear one little piece of somebody else's story, just to not just make it through their day, but it can change the whole trajectory of the rest of their life.
No, absolutely, man. I'm glad you said that. So, I mean, there's no need, I guess, to hold back and hold the audience any further. So let's talk about before the success, before you start hitting the stages, before you start going around with that towel around your neck and doing your thing. Before the growth and before the mindset, who was Justin? Before it all started, before prison, before the success.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, a great place to start. Because for me, it's I would always I most often refer back to the typical street thug, right? From a youth, like 8, 9 years old, stealing cigarettes from the adults, drinking beers hiding around the corners, drinking beers and things like that. So it's just always into something I ain't had no business being into. Easily influenced, always said things that I thought other people, as a people pleaser, what I thought other people would praise me for, right? And it was always the negative actions, right? It's always the worst things that you think people are gonna pat you on the back for in those streets, in that life. Grew up just petty hustling in the beginning, early stages, 11, 12. The first time I got arrested was 11 years old. So that gives you some kind of idea, right? Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, boosting car systems and rims. Back then, it was easy to steal car stereos and leave a car on center blocks, right? Steal the rims. Always find somebody in the hood to buy those things, right? So just hustling like that. Got into selling drugs, doing drugs, drinking alcohol, all of the things, right? And so for me, it's typical. Like that's just the typical everyday life when that's your environment. So speed up a little bit more. Went to jail a couple of times for lesser charges. Would always bond out, get probation or smack on the hand, as they say, catch a fine, catch some community service, catch weekends. So when I first turned 21, I got arrested and charged with first-degree murder. So that's where typically this story will begin. The rest of the show probably, or more than likely. But
let me ask you a question before you jump into that, because you covered a lot, right? So you, from 11, you started to get arrested, and then so that trajectory, you just was thugging it out from there. So, but you were getting bonded out, and people were getting you out of jail. So, did you have? It sounds like you didn't have a support system, or you may have had one, but you were rebelling against it, and they were still helping and trying to get you to go down that path. So you had a support system.
So I always had my mother I could call, right?
Okay.
And this is and here's the irony. My mother didn't have parenting skills, which is one of the reasons I may or may not have turned out the way I turned out at that time. My mother's way of showing her love, like there's no question did she love us, and I say us, my sister and I. Her way of showing her love was to be our best friend, let us do everything we wanted to do, right? Very there was no disciplinary actions from her, and all the disciplinary actions came from my stepdad in the beginning, and once they got divorced, it was no old bars. Like my mom, we just ran over top of her. We did everything we wanted to do, but she would still show up for us. And so my mom would always, she'd be the one right there with the bail, right? I would give her the money because I was hustling,
Right.
but so the money was there. It wasn't an issue of not having the money as far as posting bail, but but she was there as far as like the support is picking me up. There was never no counseling. There was never no, anything. It was so my mom, there's pictures of my mom, back before, this is way back in, before the time of cell phones and camera phones and all of that. There were regular printed pictures of my mom with like plates of weed and things like that. So she was smoking dust when she was pregnant with my sister. So that gives you a little bit of idea, in terms of the mentality in the upbringing, right?
Right.
And she wasn't doped out or anything when I was coming along, but she still partied. She drank. She got high and things like that. And so did everybody else in the family. I think I got like 4 of my uncles who are crackheads, right? One of them's gone. He's dead, but because he ended up ODing on heroin. So the support was that type of support. Is like, just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, there was never no don't keep doing what you're doing. It was just like, this is what we do. It's either you make it or you don't.
Right. You shoot, you got a wicked jump shot or you sell crack rock type of thing.
That's it.
I got you. Yeah, no boundaries. And that's a lot of things. Talking to folks, we realized growing up wasn't a lot of boundaries. A lot of our, parents may have partied. We witnessed that. I mean, backyard parties, barbecues, all those type of things associated with drugs and alcohol. So it's kind of like that's inherited things evils that we kind of grew up doing the exact same thing. Like you said, engaging at an early age. But all right, so you said at 21, the attempt murder, you said? What was it?
No, it was first degree murder.
Oh, first degree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was arrested and charged with first degree murder, facing a life sentence without the possibility of parole. And I always like to point out, back then the law had changed, so there was no parole. A life sentence was life. Like, there was a time where life sentence was 20, 25 years. You come up for parole and you can get out.
Right.
And at the time, that sentencing structure was alleviated and no more. It did not exist. So if I would have been sentenced to life, there was no getting out. I would have died in prison.
Right.
So I was sentenced. I mean, I was arrested and charged with first degree murder. At the time, my daughter was 10 months old. So sitting in county jail for 2 years waiting to go to trial. My charge was in the state of North Carolina. I was arrested in Virginia. So I also had another charge, which was fugitive from justice, because I fled the state, right? So when they did arrest me, I sat in Virginia for a year before they extradited me. I actually fought extradition and beat it.
How'd you beat it?
Because North Carolina didn't have any evidence to extradite me. So how I ended up getting extradited is the 12 jurors came together and said that they signed that they had some evidence that they did not, and got a governor's warrant for my arrest.
Right.
Even though I beat extradition, like that's the thing with the system, man. That's a whole nother topic of discussion. But yeah. I mean, we all know it ain't no secret. The system is, everybody knows it's jacked up, and it's nothing.
Right. We'll say that.
Say fight, But so anyway, so they still came and got me. Right. And I sat in jail going on 2 years waiting for trial. But this whole time I was waiting for trial, my attorney, we had this whole game plan. Like, I was gonna beat the case. I'd never do another day. Like, I definitely wouldn't see state, meaning the penitentiary. And 3 months prior to my trial date, he comes and he says, "Hey, such and such evidence came in, and we can't beat this case. If you go to trial, you will lose, and you will get a life sentence, and you'll never see your daughter outside of the prison walls again. I was like, what? What happened to all of it? Like, we had a whole game plan. What happened to the plan?
Right.
Well, we can't beat it. We can't win. You will lose. So I got the DA to agree to a plea agreement. It's a great deal. It's only 19 to 24 years. I said, what? Man, get out of my face. I'm not doing 25 years, because you might as well just round that to 25.
Right.
Right. And you always got to accept, or well, not accept, but expect that you may do the max. There's no guarantee you're going to do that lower number. Right. So, and it's not even based off of what you may or may not have control over when it comes to the inside of the wall. So, point is, man, I'm not doing 25 years. Get out of my face. Take me back to my cell. So I got in my cell. About 2 weeks later, he comes back. Man, look, I talked to the DA. I got you a better deal. You need to take this. If you go to trial, you will spend the rest of your life in prison. You will die in prison. 15 to 19 years. I said, man, I'm not doing 20 years. You said we could beat this case. We're going to win this case, man. I'm going to trial. I'm not doing 20 years. Now, let me back up and tell you why I was so arrogant and so stern and so wanting to go to trial and believing that I would beat the case. It's because of the case. So why I was charged with first-degree murder is because I was at a family affair, a party, right? Like you said, we got the backyard, the barbecue, whatever, the cookout. We had my little cousin's Sweet 16 birthday party, live DJ, everybody doing their thing, right? It was good. Some uninvited guests showed up, and to make a long story short, one of those uninvited guests started a fist fight with my cousin, my oldest cousin, and my cousin was getting the best of him, beating the brakes off this dude. Dude pulls out a butterfly knife and starts stabbing my cousin to death. So that's the individual who got shot and killed.
Right.
So now you see why I'm not going to prison for this. In my mind, this death, this murder, this was justified.
Right.
He had what he had coming.
Standing ground.
I have zero remorse to this day. So, and we'll get to that in a minute as well. So I said, we're going to trial, man. I'm not doing 20 years for this. So the lawyer's like, all right. I said, I'll tell you what. Since I really don't have no fight, because if you're the one representing me, if you're saying we're going to lose, you don't throw in the towel. What can I do? What am I going to do? Stand in court and say something. We're going to fight in court. You're the one that's supposed to that's defending me, and you ain't got no fight. So I said, get me a cap put on 10, man. I'll do a dime. I ain't doing a day more than 10 years. He was like, all right. He was excited. So, yeah. So he comes back about 2 weeks later. He says, Mr. Danforth, I got you the deal. I talked to the DA. This is the last plea. If you don't take this, we're going to trial. You're going to do a life sentence. I'm telling you, take this deal. Take this deal. So he breaks out the sentencing guidelines. Now, mind you, I had previous points on my record. That affects the sentencing guidelines, whether you do like an aggravated, a mitigated, or it's levels to it, right? Based off the point system. So if you've never been in trouble, you got a better chance on the sentencing guideline. But because I had points, because I had previous records of going to jail numerous times as a juvenile, they count that against me. So I got the aggravated sentence. So anyways, it was 14 years and 4 months to 17 years and 9 months. And he breaks out his calculator. And he was like, see, you do 85% of the time. Boom. And he got the number. And he said, didn't you get your good time? And he punched in the calculator. And he's talking. And he's punching the numbers. He got to say, the calculator just magically said 10.6. He said, see, it's only 6 months more than you said you would do.
You're supposed to feel good about that, huh?
Yeah. So I looked over, and this. My mother was allowed to be there at the time, so she was there. And I looked at her. She said, "Don't look at me.
It's your bed. Lay in it.
You. I can't say you got to make this decision."
Right. Why did you look at it?
And he said 6 more months than you said you would do, man. You've already done 2 years. So now I'm like, oh, that's time served. So I'll be out in 8 years. I said, all right, where do I sign? He broke that out quick, right here. Gave me the pen and everything, fresh ink. I signed it. We go to courts before the judge. Judge reads off everything. Now, my lawyer begged me to stand up in court and say show some remorse, because the victim's family was there. They've been in every court case from beginning to end. Even when I was going to court in Virginia, waiting for trial, they were there every time.
Right.
So I looked at my lawyer and I said, I'm not. What do you want me to do? Say sorry for what? For what? That man was there out to kill. Hey, he got killed. You do dirt, you get dirt. What you want me to do? Why? For what? That man deliberately came there to hurt somebody, man. Specifically. Unapologetically stabbed my cousin up. So the judge says, "Is there anything you wish to say?" I ain't got nothing to say. Take me back to my cell. Sentence is done. So I got sentenced to 17 years and 9 months. That plea was 17 years and 9 months, minimum of 14 years and 4 months, provided I get out in good time. So I get on state. When you first go on state, you go to your you go through processing, and then you have a case analyst / case manager, right? So I go for the case manager. She says, she's typing everything in the computer. She says, all right, Mr. Danforth, you got 17 years and 9 months. This, and this. And you do this, and this. I said, yeah, but I'll be out in 10 years. She's like, I said, I'm gonna do. I ain't getting no trouble. Now I got all the sense, right? I ain't getting no trouble.
Right.
85% of my time, I'm gonna get good time. And she just looking at me, and she said, your minimum is 14 years and 4 months. I said, I know, but 85% of that plus my good time, I'll be out in like 2.5 years, give or take.
Right. She
said, and now mind you, I'm a lot younger than 21. Well, at the time, 23. Because
I got you.
So she said, no, baby. 14 years and 4 months is the minimum. That is your good time. And 85% of the 17 years and 9 months. It's all included. You won't do a day less than 14 years and 4 months. And it hit me. I was like, he played me.
Yeah, got the all inclusive.
He played me, man. And at first, of course, I'm furious. Guess what I do? I go back to the block and I call my mom. Man, you call an attorney, man. Get him gone. Yeah, I want his retirement, man. I don't want him fired. I want his retirement. That joker played me, man. And,
Hey, man. Okay. You said, I'm calling my mama. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, and of course, years later, after being in that system, man, and seeing dudes catch way more time.
Right.
Petty drug charges. I'm talking about petty stuff. I'm like, you just a dope fiend. You won't even know kingpin. Like, you won't doing nothing. You got 20 years. I'm like, I was so thankful, man. So grateful that my lawyer played me, man.
Yeah.
So grateful that my lawyer played me, because I was really arrogant, stupid, ignorant. Of course, all of the things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, because you did that and you recapped. So the 2 years you sat down, so you was just thinking the whole time, like, man, we beating this. So, and that's why you said, hey, look, the arrogance, the ego had you not thinking anything other than we're getting out of here. Yeah. So that 14 months, well, once the lady broke it down to you, that was the moment that made you stop and reevaluate things and say, okay, all right, now we need to reassess and figure out which path or what's the way forward.
Oh, no. Heck no.
Okay, go ahead.
I spent the first, once I got on state, I spent the first 3 years still doing everything I was doing in the streets.
Okay.
Drinking, because you can make homemade wine. Plus, you can still get stuff in prison. You can get everything in the streets. You can get in prison. So I'm still hustling. I'm getting packages in. I'm still chasing female officers and case managers, like trying to get some draws, like all of the same stuff, man. I just didn't have a gun, but I carried a knife. What we call a knife. Most people out here will call it shank, but it's simple and plain. It's a knife, shank, shift, whatever. In the movies they call it shift or shank. Oh, I call it a knife. But it'll poke you. It's a piece of steel that'll go through a man's chest and come out of his back. So, still rob people or whatever. Like it was just another. The streets actually prepared me for prison.
Right.
My childhood, my teenage years prepared me for prison, man. Because I see that you see a lot of people come and go in there, and there's some people that they screwed up and they were not ready for what they came into.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready. Like it was like a badge of honor coming from where I come from, man. It was like you did it. You made it
by going to prison.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
what it's like a rite of passage from where we come from. It's no different than in our generation. My generation, I'm 45 years old. My generation, man, it was a rite of passage to drink a beer, come home, to go to work, come home and drink. Right? That was a manly. That was what men do. That's what our grandfathers did, our fathers did.
Right.
Like
That's
you work all day, you're gonna go home and crack open a beer or a 6-pack and drink.
Right.
And so it's things like that. Like and now, of course, we all know now, like that is not right. It's not the thing to do. So that being said, I was gonna be the best prisoner, inmate, convict, felon I could be. I was gonna do all the things. Started getting tattooed, getting in more fights. All of the distractions, all of the things, man, all of the things. And then finally, now to answer your question, when I finally started thinking like, what path am I gonna take? I started seeing guys who had did 10, 15, 20 years come back within the first 12 months. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing back? I mean, back in the same cell block. And I'm like, what the hell? How do you get back here, man? You just got home. We all dapped you up. We cooked the oo-wop and we did all the things the night before your release date. We celebrated.
Yeah.
You went home. And you back? What happened? It blew my mind because about the recidivism rate, right? But it's no different than right now. Literally, right now, you can hear the news all day long. People getting killed, shootouts. Somebody shoots up a whole elementary school. Yeah, it's sad. That's sad. But it don't really affect you until it happens to you or your family. Till it's your children's school that get shot up. That's the reality of it. You can drive down a highway and you rubberneck when you see a bad accident, like, dang, I hope nobody got hurt. But if you get the call and say, hey, that was your kid, or that was your brother or your sister or somebody in your family, and you find out that was them on the highway, now it's a whole different everything, feeling, emotion, perspective. So my point is, seeing these dudes come back affected me in a way that I was like, hold on. So I started interviewing them, like, what happened? Because now I'm worried. I ain't coming back here, man. I hate it here. This place is not for me. Yeah, this ain't for me. I got people that love me, man. My mama love me.
What made you realize it wasn't for you?
So
you didn't like cooking oodles and noodles and ramen and shit in the drawer and making sangria in the toilet? I mean, what made you realize it wasn't for you?
That wasn't even the worst part, man. Because to this day, man, I've been home 9 years. And right now, my wife says, look, I don't feel good, baby. I don't feel like cooking. Guess what I'm going to go get?
Oh yeah.
pack of tuna fish and a pack of ramen noodles. I ain't going out to the store. I ain't going to do nothing. I'm comfortable eating it. I'm institutionalized.
Right.
It ain't enough for me to do that, right?
Right.
So that wasn't it. It was earlier on in the beginning, it was feeling like I was missing out on things out here.
Okay. Talk about it.
And so I was missing out on money. I was missing out on relationships. I was missing out on my daughter's life. Like the more important things started to take place, but not in the beginning. We're gonna keep this 100% real. Now, I was just missing out on getting the money that everybody else was getting. That's supposed to be mine.
Selfish.
Yeah. The party won't over for me, man. The party won't over for me. Like, you ever been to a really good party, man, or even just a really good vacation, and it's time to go home. When that sun comes, you at the party, man, everybody's passed out, drunk, and the sun starts coming up. It's like, well, dang, back to reality.
Right.
The party's over. Life, you got to do whatever. You got to go brush your teeth, if nothing else. But there's a responsibility that takes place when the party's over.
Right.
I wasn't done partying.
Okay.
So initially, that's why I started hating it so much. And then the individuals coming in there, man, like, there's some mental health issues in the world. Like, there's some mental health problems that people have. And it stems, there's a variety, right? There's a large range. And those same individuals, they don't divide them. No, they get thrown right in there with you until they divide themselves. They get moved out to another to a 730 dorm. But point is, I just started really disliking the individuals that I was around. People coming in there, and it's just like, oh man, it's just too many dudes. Like, I'm tired of being around dudes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so just all of it starts piling up. But when I would ask somebody, man, why did you come? How did you come back? Not even why. How did you get back here? Because it's only you only get back if either you hard headed or you like it, and nobody likes it. So how could you be that hard headed to make it back here, man? And what I learned, what I realized and found out to be true, almost across the board, but nothing's across the board. But the majority had an unfulfilled, what I called unfulfilled street dreams. Whether it was one more package, one more set of draws, one more high, right? One more drink,
Right.
one more relation with the baby mama that called the cops, that got them locked up in the first place. Like, it was always something unfulfilled. There was a void they were trying to fill after they got out. And for me, what I started learning, what I started realizing and yearning for, was a domestic lifestyle. I done seen and done it all. And these dudes coming in here talking about the same street dreams. And I'm like, man, that stuff don't impress me, man. I seen and done it all, and came and got and ended up with a body. There's not a higher level to me at that time, right? When it comes to those street dreams or whatever. So it was like, I want a domestic lifestyle, because prior to going to prison, I never woke up next to the same woman every day, paid bills, cut grass, like none of that. And that's what I started yearning for. And so that's when the transition started to happen. It wasn't no aha moment. Like, I woke up one day and was like, yo, I ain't never coming back to prison, drop all the bad habits, stop all the negative mentality and BS that I was on. And now I just changed the strategy of the rest of my life. That's not what happened, man. It was a course of hard discipline programming that took place over years that got me to where I'm at today. Right. And so, fortunately, I still had a decade plus to implement the things that I started. So what I started doing was just reading personal growth and development books. I quit smoking cigarettes, quit smoking weed, right? Quit drinking, started watching my tongue, started changing my thought process, started watching what I listened to, paying attention to what I was allowing myself to listen to and speak, and the conversations I would indulge in and not partake in. So it was a whole, it was years of filtering everything, and being so disciplined to not fold break because of pressure, because pressure busts pipes. And so there's a lot of pressure, man. It's so easy to give up. You already in there. What else you got to lose? You ain't going nowhere.
Let me ask you a question. So, where did you get the influence from? Because typically, when you hear about people they go to jail, they typically click up with the nation, with different affiliations and organizations, inside the facility. So, and that's typically how they find their ways and their strength to do that. So, did you stand alone, or did you find a solid group of people to hold you down, or you know what I mean? What was the thought process?
I'm glad you brought that up. It's great because you're right. When you find yourself sitting with yourself, you start to realize you're the reason that you are where you are. And if you don't like it, you're the person that can change it. But how do you do that, right? And so most people understand that, well, there's a book of life. There's you remember Wu-Tang, the acronym for the Bible was basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
The
right.
jizzle.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
there's these ways of living that get you through, and so I started trying to read the Bible. I didn't ascribe to going to church, because in prison they have the chapel, so they have religious services that you can attend. But I just I didn't click with the Christianity way of thinking, a way of life, because prior to going to prison, I ran the streets, hung around with, and grew up with what they call the 5% Nation, right? Wu-Tang, the nation of gods and earth, right? So my whole mentality and perspective on things came from an Islamic perspective, because the nation of gods and earth, the 5% Nation, is derived from the teachings of Islam originally. And so that being said, but they also teach that you need to know and understand all the religions in order to know that the one true religion is this, right? So I started with the Bible, and then I went and then I started going to the Islamic services with the Muslims, and I became Muslim because what I realized was everything that I thought Islam was not.
Okay.
So everything that the nation of gods and earths that they live by, right? They call it a way of life, is in exact opposition and contradiction to true Islam. And most people can understand if you just tell them, look at the story of Malcolm X, right? When he was under the influence of Elijah Muhammad, and he went and made the pilgrimage and was like, oh, this isn't what Islam is. This is what being Muslim is. And he came back. And anyways, the difference. So that's kind of that story there. So yes, I took my shahada, which is the declaration of faith, and became Muslim. And so being around the righteous individuals, the Muslims, and you have in every denomination, every religion, every group, every gang, you have those who take it to heart, and those who straddle the fence, and those who struggle with with things, right? So
Right.
it's not just one, but there's some in there that they still struggle with things, and there's some that are stern. And so that's who I stuck with, studying with, and became a leader myself. So I became the prayer leader at multiple facilities, to where for the whole Islamic community. That being said, the religion of Islam, the righteous, upright way of living, and it has nothing. It's not per se the religion. It's just it's across the board with any upright way of living. You can even benefit from going to an NA and AA meeting, right? Because what are they talking about? Dropping the bad habits, having the discipline to keep moving forward in the right direction at the end of the day.
Right.
So it's how you do that, a lot of times, is where people differ, right? How you practice the said religion or whatever group. So, and that's I don't get into that discussion. My point is, so yes, that's what helped guide me to go in the right direction. But like I said, I read every personal growth and development that I keep my hands on. It's the same books that all of your listeners have already read those books. The difference is I was implementing what I was reading. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. To this day, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week. If I'm on vacation, I can be on a cruise. I can be on a retreat. I'm going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because that's what works for me.
Right.
That's what I did in prison. And that was my program. And that's what built me. And it cultivated the discipline to see things clearly. And it helps me prepare for the day. So if I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I get my workout in, I'm able to combat all the negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions that I currently woke up with. And then that may come across my plate throughout that day because they're going to come. We're going to be tested. I don't care if it's at the stoplight in traffic or if it's at the grocery store at Target, whatever.
Right.
Right. So I get mentally prepared by doing these by doing these practices. And then so that I hope that answered your question in regards to like, was I influenced? Yes.
No, yeah, absolutely, man. So, it kind of runs parallel to the military, right? So I retired from the military, and the same thing is because basically, essentially what you're talking about is structure. So, and that's what everybody needs is structure. And as the same thing is, for over 20 years, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, then retiring and still working for the government after I retired. People were like, what the hell are you doing up at 3 o'clock in the morning? It's like, hey, man, this is what I did. This is what works. If I sleep past 3, 5, or 6, I'm done for the day. Or I've lost 3 hours or 4 hours of productivity that I've already had accounted for. So I'm at a loss. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely, man. Structure is definitely something that people need. And I find, and I say they run parallel because, going on deployments and going on trainings and different things of that nature, and then coming back and working with quote unquote so-called civilians, and they lack those a lot of that structure, a lot of that discipline and those efforts because in these jobs in these different places they don't require them, and then so and it's not a bad thing, but I was going to say because you've had experience prior to going in, coming out. What do you think scares people more, failure or accountability?
Oh, that's a great question. There's no one answer because there are a lot of people that are afraid of success. As bad, they can say all day that they want it, they feel like they want it, but the pressure, like I said, pressure busts pipes. Success comes with responsibility and a whole lot of pressure. We often know the old saying like more money, more problems. Well, the more success you have, the more pressure you have, the more responsibility you have. And see, a lot of people are afraid of that, regardless of whether or not they even know it, because it comes with levels of responsibility, and they're afraid of failure. So you got one side of the coin is afraid of success, and then you got the other side of the coin that's afraid of failure. And so it's a combination to me, it's a combination of both. And then the accountability aspect is that responsibility that comes with the levels of success, any level of it. And so I like to break the word down. Responsibility is respond to your ability. So you're able, you have the ability, unless you have, you have been diagnosed with some kind of mental, and they tell me I can't say retarded no more. I don't know what else to say. The word like that was,
yeah, I'm thinking they probably just discovered mental illness.
Disadvantage. I don't even know.
And
it's not like I don't say that in a derogatory way, but to me, that was the medical term for those who have a issue mentally, right?
Yeah, but nowadays, everybody's
politically correct nowadays,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like if your show gets shut down because I said the word retarded, man, bleep it out before in the edits. And so look, whatever you can comprehend, you ain't got certain disabilities, then it's upon you to respond to your ability. And that's the problem, man, because people got so much potential. And you as a coach, you understand, and understand this more than anything. That's what your whole goal. No, you can be a business coach. I don't even know what kind of coach you are, but your whole goal is to get people to tap into their potential because you know better than anybody that they have it in them.
That's a great point. Let me ask you a question. So why do you think, and obviously we won't say, oh, definitely won't do that. Say some men, why do you think they blame everybody but themselves? It kind of
That's a
goes.
victim mentality. That's the victim mentality, man.
Okay.
It's weak. Yeah, and why do they do it? Because they feel like they're the victim. They you know what I'm saying? So and it's always, come on, man. It's always easier to point the finger. It's always what? It's always easy. You know how hard it is to look in the mirror and say, "Dang, you done screwed up. Dang, look at you. Dang, you're overweight. Dang, you can't do this. Dang, you can't." Come on, man. Nobody can admit wrong. It can admit fault. Nobody likes. You know what? To narrow it all down, truth hurts.
Right.
And so the reality is, it is my fault. I can't control what I feel. I don't have no self-control. I can't control my impulses. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm addicted to porn, I'm addicted to watching video games or Netflix, or whether I'm addicted to stuff in my face with pizza. I ain't got no control. And that's the truth. But I can't admit the truth, man. Come on, man. I can't. Boy, how can I face the world admitting that it's my fault? So it's easy to play the victim and blame everybody else and point the finger. Because now I can justify why I can't control my eating habits and I like to eat a whole dozen of donuts. Or why I can't stop lusting over females, or why I can't stop gambling and doing all the things I ain't got no business doing. All the distractions. I can't even stop scrolling. Facebook, social media, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, and somebody in the chat said mentally challenged. That's the correct terminology to use. So make sure
Okay.
we.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate y'all for correcting us and not criticizing us.
Like I said, I don't. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't mean it to be derogatory.
Right.
But I don't think the smartest person and know all the answers either.
Absolutely. Each one teach one, man. Stay open minded. We all good to go. What's the hardest decision you ever made?
The hardest decision I ever made?
Yep.
That's a great question. Because there's so many of them.
Rack and stack them. Give me you ain't gotta give me
everything I did was the hardest. Like all the vices that I dropped were the hardest decision because I was so good. I was so good
at being bad.
I was the best of the best at doing the worst of the worst.
Okay.
You can't beat me. And see, that's one of the things now is like, that's my mentality now is, oh, you can't beat me.
Right.
You tell me right now you get up at 2:45 every day. Oh, hell no, man. I'm going to get up at 2:40. I might get up at 2:44, but you ain't going to beat me.
Let me I like that. So would you say it's one upping or a healthy challenge to yourself?
It's a healthy challenge. It's like for me, I learned that taking the easy route was what got me to where I was at. I learned that not liking things to change, right, was what got me to where I was at. Was being super comfortable was the most addictive than any drug I ever did. And I done smoked meth, I done smoked coke, I done smoked weed, all of it. Nothing is more addictive than comfort. And so for me, it's the challenge of knowing that that's gonna make me uncomfortable. It's like a self-inflicted adversity. I make sure I don't get comfortable, man, because it's real easy to get comfortable. And if we get comfortable, man, bad things can happen. And it ain't gotta be like, oh, the world's gonna end. No, it might just be the way I perform at work tomorrow.
Right.
I might don't perform the way my employer needs me to perform. And then he don't make as much money as he's supposed to make. And now he's looking at me like, wow, I ain't doing what I'm supposed. It's just little things add up, right? And so for me, it's those it's as they say. I think you can find it anywhere now. It's like embracing the discomfort or getting
Embrace
comfortable
the sun,
with
baby.
discomfort. Embracing the suck, yeah, right. So that is just that. There's qualities of hyper successful individuals, and one of them is like it is thinking they're the best, and that's me. That's me. I tell
Would you,
anybody, man, you walk in the room, you should walk in the room, not, oh, hey, there you are, Coach Trell. No, you walk in the room like, here I am.
no, I like that. Let me ask you a question. What's would you say, because I believe in duality, right? Believe in balance. So
Indeed.
what's that fine line between that and narcissism?
That's a great question.
Because that's the thing we get accused of so much,
Humility.
being narcissists. You know what I
Humility.
mean? Humility. Okay, I like that. Tell me about it.
See, I'm humble enough to know I'm not the best, but I'm gonna perform and give everything I got 110%, like
Right.
I am the best, and I believe that I can be the best. But I'm humble enough to know that, yeah, you can beat me, and that's okay. So I would say that would be that fine line.
No, I like it. So I used to tell my people, is anybody perfect? Hell no. Can you strive for perfection? Hell yes.
All day long. And should you? Yes.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? There's a difference. And like you said, you find that comfort with complacency. You know what I mean? And that's why they say in discomfort, you find growth. You know what I mean? So if you're comfortable, that means you're not growing, right? You're not pushing yourself to the optimal level of what you should be doing, whatever it is your objectives and your goals are. And that's what I think, a lot of times, man, it gets so easy for people to just to get comfortable. And with that being said, because you've been through so much, was there a moment when you just wanted to quit?
Every day. Every day.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
So we all had this negative self-talk, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so what I learned, and you'll hear like Napoleon Hill, some of his older works, or Dale Carnegie, excuse me, they'll talk about like auto-suggestion. And so what I learned was to not allow my negative self-talk be the auto-suggestion, but rather the savage voice be the auto-suggestion. So the second I feel like, oh man, look, I've been getting up 3:00 for 20 years.
Right.
I worked hard yesterday. I stayed up late last night working hard. I could sleep in. The second those thoughts come, the savage voice is on auto suggestion. It says, "Get you a weak punk." And then my voice in my head, I can cuss myself out, right?
Right.
So, basically, don't be a vagina this morning and get
Okay.
the hell up and do what you got to do and take care of business. Why? Because you're a man and you said you're a man. And when you get up and look in the mirror, you're going to be a man. And so that's the difference between negotiating with those negative self-thoughts and training them. You got to train yourself on everything, man. Like I said, I didn't wake up like this. I had to train myself. Why? Because every day
I got you. But I would say give yourself some grace, man. You know what I mean? Don't be so hard on yourself.
I do.
Okay.
I give myself plenty of grace, man. Every day. That's why anytime somebody asks you, man, how you doing? Are you good? Every day I don't wake up behind prison, man. I'm good.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm real good. The grace that I got a brand new, and this isn't a flex. I got a brand new 2026 Dodge Rebel with a Hurricane engine in it, twin turbo, inline six. I don't even know what none of that means.
Me either.
But it was extra. It cost me money. Sitting in my driveway. And like I said, that's not a flex. The point is, I give myself plenty of grace.
No, that's dope. Let me ask you a question. So you mentioned your daughter was 10 months or your child. Apologies if it's
It's my daughter. She was 10 months when I got locked up, turning 16 when I came home.
How was that reconnection like when you got home?
Well, it wasn't a reconnection, so to speak, because she was there. My mother brought her to see me regularly. They traveled because I was locked up out of state. So they traveled hours and hours. They had to stay at a hotel room, but for just a 2-hour visit. Well, sometimes it'd be a 2-hour visit. Sometimes because they come from out of state, I could get approved for what they call a special visit. They could do 2-hour visits, leave for an hour, and come back for 2 hours.
Okay.
They like leave and go get something to eat and then come back. So essentially, I got 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So I watched her grow up from prison, but she was there regularly, phone calls, visits. As she grew up, she got older, and so and this ain't like some shameless plug or whatever they call it. Like,
man, do what you gotta do, bro.
But this book right here was cultivated because of that. So this is called Sowing the Seeds of Connection, and it's published on Amazon. And that's neither here nor there. Nobody needs to go
talk about it, man. Talk about it. That's beautiful, man. Talk about it.
Well, the book it's an activity workbook that bridges the gap between parent and child relationships. And it started out because as she got older, could talk and have conversations. This is how the conversations from prison went. Hey, baby, what you doing? None. How was school today? Good. What y'all have for lunch? Chicken. Is your nanny cooking dinner? Yeah. What's she cooking? Spaghetti. You like spaghetti? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know what to say. We can't like I'm socially retarded because I'm institutionalized. And at the time I'm in prison, right? So I don't have social skills. So it's like, how do I talk to my daughter? And so I created this activity workbook that allowed me to bridge that gap. And what I found is that it's not just with incarcerated parents, but it's for military parents or grandparents who live on the East Coast, and the grandchild lives on the West Coast. They don't get to see them all the time. So how do you bridge the gap of communication? And so what I did was at the time, this was just hand drawn. I'm in prison. So it was hand drawn worksheets, and every worksheet, like the first page, says my favorites. And it's just a list of my favorite food, color. I can't see the next one. Animal, book, movie. I write this out. I fill it out, and I make an exact copy with blanks. Send her both copies. My mom gets her to fill it out and send me her copy back. Now, when I call, guess what we're talking about? Oh, yeah. Your color is red, or your favorite dessert is chocolate cake. That used to be mine, but now I like cheesecake. Blah 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 blah. Right. So now we can conversate for hours because I know what to say based on her answers.
So what spawned that idea? Basically, you created a POI or a tutorial how to teach yourself to communicate with your child. So what made you create that idea?
This is a great question, right? Because nobody ever asked this question. So it's kind of like it's one of those like best kept secrets, or one of those things nobody just never gets out in the open. But
okay,
so in prison, you learn for outside relationships, right?
Right.
You want a pen pal, man. You just want to hear your name during a mail call. That's all, man. You got people in there lonely. I want to hear my name during mail calls. So you find a pen pal, right? So I had my mom set me up a Facebook page when Facebook came out, and a couple people, females, have reached out, and I got my mom to connect me with them. So now I'm getting some mail. So now I'm building a relationship with females. But guess what I'm doing? I'm writing, trying to get to know these females.
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute. I don't even know, like, it just clicked. I'm like, how do I get to know my daughter? And it wasn't the same time. Right. It was just one day I'm thinking, like, how do I get, I'm on the phone. I'm like, how do I get to know my daughter? And then later on, I'm going to write this female. I'm like, this is it.
Light bulb.
This is it right here. But and once I dug into it, it even developed more to gauge the psychological level that she's at. Because
Right.
at 9 years old, there's a page in here that says, if I ruled the world, or if I had 3 wishes, I would wish for, and it's just 3 blanks. So if at 9 years old she wishes for a lifetime supply of Skittles, a purple unicorn, and I don't know, a Barbie doll,
Right.
or at 9 years old she wished her 3 wishes is to stop world hunger, for to go to college or something, whatever. Then it's like, oh, now I know the psychological maturity she's at, and I know how to gauge my conversation with her.
Right.
Start, she's a little bit immature for her age. She's a little immature for her age, so I'll direct the conversation this way, or she's mature for her age. So now I'll keep my letters going in this angle and direction, and my conversation going this way.
Right. No, that's awesome, man. You're teaching her how to dream, how to have a glass ceiling, aspirations, goals, objectives. So I mean, those are all parenting skills, man, that you said that your mom didn't have and you didn't have the opportunity of developing, but inadvertently you did, because it's just communicating. That's all it is. And they take it and not reinventing the wheel. We all grew up writing letters to people in the war or jail or somewhere in a pen pile or summer camp. And, using that same concept and using it to not only develop that with your child, but to create a book out of it. It's freaking genius, man.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I don't know how genius it is, but no, for real, thank you. And again, I give myself plenty of grace, man, because I get a check every month for that book from one nonprofit organization that uses my book across the whole United States and 2 other countries. So gratitude is action, right? Because we can, I've never talk about or do the whole I never even understood the whole gratitude journaling, right? Get up in the morning and write down all the stuff that you're thankful for. And it's like, come on, man, everybody knows you better be thankful for your kids and your cat and your dog and your truck and your house and your wife and your husband. Like, come on, man, you got to write that stuff down.
Everybody goes through things differently, though, man.
Indeed so. But so my understanding, for me, it was like, it does me no good to write that stuff down if I don't act like it, right? If I don't show my gratitude. And so if you're thankful for your child, your spouse, or for the vehicle, go get the oil change, take it to the car wash. You take care of it, right? Because it is what? It's a blessing.
Yeah, but these are all learned behaviors, though. You have to learn how to do that. That's not something you're born with. You don't instinctively take care of things. You learn. That's a developed process. I understand what you're saying.
You innately know right from wrong. And so you innately know if you're taking something for granted or not, man. You don't accidentally take somebody or something for granted. If somebody's being good to you and you disrespect them or treat them like crap or do something spiteful, you didn't learn that was right or wrong. Huh?
You learn how to disrespect them. You learned that wasn't respecting.
You may be right. You know what? I'm not gonna say whether you're right or wrong, because I do not know. I will never act like I know psychology or I'm a therapist. I know me. I know me. And I know when I was a child, if I did something, if I broke something, you didn't have to tell me I wasn't supposed to break that. I knew I was wrong.
Let me give you an example. Like people down south, they say they got Southern hospitality. And then they say people up north got attitudes, arrogant, maybe obnoxious, but that's just, again, the demographic and where they are. Typically, they won't know that they have that attitude or they're doing something wrong or offensive until somebody says, hey, man, like in Texas, they say good morning. And in New York, you say good morning, like, hey, fuck you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So again, that's a learned behavior. You know what I mean? That's something they do in that environment. They're a product of that environment. So I'm not saying that, good or bad or indifferent. I'm just saying if you're in that environment and that's what you learn, and you're a product of that environment. Just like you said, you were thugging it out, even though your mom was trying to help you out, trying to take care of you, and she didn't necessarily, get a tutorial on how to be a parent. You just did your thing because that's what you grew up doing. So again, those learned behaviors. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Like I said, hey, I know for me, all I can speak on me, and I'll tell anybody, man, do what works for you. If gratitude journaling works for you, then that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
Right. If sleeping in late works for you, then that's what you do. Right. I do what works for me.
And that's all you can do, man. Let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you a couple. I'm just gonna say a couple words, and then you say the first thing that come to mind. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Success is
relative.
Discipline is
doing what you got to do regardless of how you feel.
Accountability is
owning up to your crap.
Most people need less.
Oh man, most people need less social media.
Okay, the opposite. Most people need more.
Most people need more time with just themselves.
I agree with that. The biggest lie people tell themselves is
the first thing that comes to mind. I think the biggest lie people tell themselves is everything. I don't even know the biggest lie people tell themselves. They tell themselves so many lies. But if I had to say the first thing that comes to mind would be a negative self-talk, regardless of what it is. Just negative self-talk is the biggest lie.
Yeah, definitely that self-sabotage type stuff. Yeah, a man's greatest enemy is
himself.
All right, well, last one. One decision everyone should make today is
to invest in themselves.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Hey, man, so any words you want to leave the audience with, man? That's all I got. Whatever you want to say, wrap us up, get us out of here.
Let me say, remain curious. Treat yourself kind, with grace, like you said. Give yourself grace, forgive yourself, and know this. Everybody is going through something, that you are not alone, and there is always somebody that can use your help or that can help you. And smile. That's it.
Hey, man, that was awesome, man. Well said. I appreciate you. What I love about this conversation is that it reminds us that transformation doesn't begin with circumstances. It begins with a decision. This is Silent No More. Out of here.
Silent no more. I'm done fighting this war. What I feel in weakness is something worth fighting for. Silent no more. I'm unlocking the door. If strength is being honest, then I'm stronger than before.
This is your prosperity.